Welcome to Module 5. At this point, you are ready to begin the serious planning of your own walking school bus program. As you've learned, you can run an informal, parent-led neighborhood program without funds. However, any walking school bus program more ambitious than that will require at least a little funding. Here's how to bring in those funds. There are many ways you can fund your walking school bus program. We will discuss local sponsorships, government and foundation grants, and federal funding options. Then I'll give some grant writing tips and discuss the concept of institutionalizing the walking school bus to give it long-term viability. As we go through this module, it is important to remember that you will have unique local opportunities, so be open to thinking outside the box when it comes to opportunities, and know that a diverse mix of funding sources is ideal for program stability. A walking school bus program budget, just like a household budget, is based upon a certain length of time. Like I mentioned in Module 3, PedNet operates 2 walking school bus programs per year, one in the fall and another in the spring. The fall program is about 10 weeks in length, while the spring program is about 14 weeks long. You can, of course, decide to operate your program for however many weeks you like, but for the sake of this budget, we will assume a 6-week program length because that is a very common length for new programs. If you decide to operate for longer or shorter, the ratios will remain the same, but your totals will differ. There are 2 different potential budgets for a one-school program. This is a budget for a small single school. The typical budget categories include coordinating stipend, printing for flyers and other communications, snacks for kids walking to school, student and volunteer incentives. I've seen many grant applications from many different groups looking to fund walking school bus programs, and the 2 most commonly overlooked budget items are printing and food costs. That can be a costly mistake to program planners. Printing costs should be included because you need promotional tools like flyers and letters home to parents. Food costs should be included because nothing brings parents to a meeting like free food. Kids also appreciate a healthy and delicious snack during the special events like Walk to School Day. Remember, this isn't just about getting kids to sign up for the program, it's also about making sure that they have so much fun they keep walking. The same goes for student incentives. These things generate more interest in the event than simply, hey, let's all walk to school together. It gives the message that this is a fun community event that is special. For a 6-week program, a stipend for the program coordinator will go a long way towards ensuring program success. Far too often we expect someone to volunteer for that role, and normally someone will, but the enthusiasm of a new coordinator can start to wane as time goes by. Even someone with overwhelming enthusiasm at the start of the program will often say things like, "No one realizes how hard I'm working at this," or "I just don't know that I can justify taking this much time away from my family," or "I feel the need for more support." A stipend, even if it's a small amount of money, can have a powerful emotional impact. Suddenly it's not just a hobby that detracts from family time, but it's a part-time job. Finally, that stipend really has a way of making feel that they are a part of something official, that they are the walking school bus coordinator at XYZ Elementary School. Time and time again, the stipend has proven to be extremely powerful. In our experience, this should be a priority. The budget for a large multi-school program is more complicated and larger than that for a single school. In fact, at this level of program development, the program coordinator is normally a salaried position rather than a simple stipend. Many programs of this size are operated by a nonprofit or government agency with a staff member spending part or all of their full-time position operating the walking school bus program. Some other budget items include stipends for school-based liaisons, student and volunteer incentives, a telephone for the walking school bus coordinator, and a large-scale volunteer appreciation event. Now that you have a better sense of the types of things needed to fund a walking school bus program, let's discuss where to obtain that funding. In Module 4, we briefly discussed community partners who can help launch and sustain a walking school bus program, but some of these partners can also provide funding. The school PTA is one of these partners. Perhaps the PTA has a health and fitness committee that already has parents interested in getting kids more active and would be willing to create an official position of walking school bus coordinator. They could even have the money to financially support the program. Even if they don't now, PTAs are often effective at organizing fundraisers such as bake sales, book sales, and sponsored walks. However, not all schools have a strong PTA. The next step would be to look at outside businesses. Businesses can also be sponsors as well as partners. Many local businesses are very interested in the health and wellness of children and can be valuable sponsors. Connections may be made through a school district's Partners in Education program or by direct approach. But why would a business want to give money to this program? Because the Walking School Bus offers a sponsoring business associations with a healthy, positive, child oriented program that has the potential to garner lots of positive media attention. Business sponsors can have their name on t shirts, banners at Walk to School Day events, logo on flyers, and there is the potential for mention in any media surrounding the program. Remember that thousands of children's programs around the country, like Little League baseball teams, are sponsored by businesses. Gaining the courage to ask for the money is normally the hardest part of finding the funding. When looking for business sponsorships, focus on ones that emphasize health and fitness first. For example, a bike shop or health and fitness center may provide raffle prizes or cash. They're a good place to start because they're likely to be supportive of your goals within the program, and that makes them easier to approach. Some school systems have a foundation that can award grants to teachers, school clubs, and innovative projects. The Walking School Bus will likely be viewed as an ideal program by the Foundation Awards Committee. The amount is likely to be between a few hundred to $1,000, perfect for a walking school bus program. And the program has measurable results that funders like to see. Find out if the application needs to be sponsored by a principal, teacher, or PTA group. Not every school has a foundation, so check with your district office to find out if yours does. Later in this module, we will discuss tips for successful proposal writing. Another possibility may be a local community foundation or trust. These are usually established to allow donors to support community building projects. After locating a community foundation in your area, call or meet with a foundation official to discuss whether your walking school bus program would be eligible. See if you can schedule a meeting with the foundation board of directors or make a presentation at board meetings. Get them interested in the walking school bus by inviting the trustee and board members to join you for a walk to school day event. While we can't say for sure, most experienced grant writers believe that applicants who have made a personal connection with foundation staff will have a higher chance of success than those who apply without first making a connection. Once you have identified a potential funder or sponsor, your Walk to School Day event becomes your greatest asset. These are fun, positive, healthy, child-oriented events that everyone enjoys and wants to be involved with. Invite your potential sponsors and policymakers to participate as celebrity guests. This gives them an opportunity to speak to the children and see that a walking school bus can make a real difference. It's hard to imagine someone walking with kids and not becoming passionate about the program. Seeing really is believing when it comes to safe routes to school, so do whatever you can to get them to the events. Remember to always mention sponsors and thank policymakers in media interviews. An unappreciative funding recipient is a one-time funding recipient. There are also many national health foundations that may fund walking school bus programs. The Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, whose mission is to improve the health and health care of all Americans, is one such foundation. PedNet has received numerous Robert Wood Johnson Foundation grants, some of which have supported our walking school bus program. The Convergence Foundation is a collaborative of national funders, and its members include RWJF, Nemours, W.K. Kellogg Foundation, the Kresge Foundation, Kaiser Permanente, the California Endowment, and Ascension Health. To apply to one of these foundations requires a major commitment to grant writing, and many of them have specific grant deadlines. Again, we will go over this in more detail in the grant writing part of this module. The upside of larger funders like these is that they can provide large amounts of money, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars, and many years of support. The downside is that their grant applications are normally quite competitive. In general, these are not for the inexperienced grant writer. Local Safe Routes to School programs began in the United States long before it became a national program. However, SRTS really took off in 2005 when Congress created the first federal SRTS program with the passage of the SAFETEA-LU Transportation Bill, which ultimately provided approximately $1.1 billion for SRTS. In July 2012, Congress passed a new transportation bill, Moving Ahead for Progress in the 21st Century, or MAP 21. While SRTS is no longer a standalone program, beginning in October 2012, SRTS activities will be eligible to compete for funding alongside other programs, including the Transportation Enhancements Program and Recreational Trails Program, as part of a new program called Transportation Alternatives. The Federal Highway Administration is charged with putting the legislation into practice, and it provides information about MAP 21 on its website. Some states will have remaining SRTS funds from the previous transportation legislation. Find out what's happening in your state and whether there's funding available by visiting the National Center for Safe Routes to Schools website, saferoutesinfo.org, or by searching the internet using your state's name and SRTS. You could also try finding a local bicycle and pedestrian advocacy group and asking them to help you figure out if your state provides SRTS funding. As a nonprofit organization, PedNet is almost entirely reliant upon grant funding. We have applied for and received many grants over the years and learned some important lessons. First, conduct systematic grant searches. New grant notifications are released almost daily. Set up a schedule to do an internet search on a weekly basis, and you will see nearly every release. Or you could register with the Foundation Center, a nonprofit that serves as a philanthropic information center. The Foundation Center has lots of information about nearly every charity in the United States, including many who are small enough not to have websites. Schools or school districts may be able to apply directly for grant funding. However, some charitable organizations will only award funds to not-profit organizations with a 501c3 designation. This can be discouraging to someone trying to start a walking school bus program who is not affiliated with a nonprofit, but it's really an opportunity for you to look to develop partnerships with groups like we discussed in Module 4. For example, is there an established bicycle and pedestrian organization in your community that you could partner with? What about an organization like Big Brothers and Big Sisters? Not only is a nonprofit status usually required, but funders are also looking for a financially viable nonprofit. Many grant applications ask you to include an organizational budget sheet for this very reason. They aren't being nosy, they simply want to ensure that the organization is strong enough to fulfill the promises made in the grant application. So when looking for partnerships, consider one that has been stable for a number of years as opposed to a brand new nonprofit. Funders are investors. They have a limited amount of money and they are trying to achieve the highest return on investment that they can. In this case, the return isn't a financial profit, but how much of a difference they can make per dollar. Just like any other investor, they will partly base their decision based upon your track record. So it's important to highlight any success, no matter how small, especially if it was done with minimal or zero funds. Be sure to include any positive media coverage for previous events and document volunteer support as in-kind donations. Have ambitious plans based on your past success and then justify how the grant funds can propel your program. As we close this module on Walking School Bus Program funding, I'd like to leave you with a challenge. The ultimate goal with Safe Routes to School and a Walking School Bus Program is to make it a mainstream activity so that its funding will be included into an institution's annual budget. While this can take years, nothing would indicate success more than the school or district acknowledging walking and bicycling as a primary transportation mode and providing resources to support and encourage it. In summary, putting together a budget and funding sources for a formal walking school bus program takes a little bit of planning, but fortunately, budgets come in all shapes and sizes. You can customize your budget to fit the funding needs of your walking school bus program, and often the partners you've identified to support your efforts can also provide monetary support as well. Please join me for our final module, Module 6, where I will highlight a few important takeaways from this training.